You can catch the rest of that later in the show.
But now, it's time to take a look at one of the new control interface designs that have been released over the last few months. The Wii added the Motion Sensor Plus, the Kinect is Microsoft's pad-free controller, and Sony's effort is a PlayStation Move.
There have been lots of comments about all three of these systems, with people calling them all pointless and useless innovations. But is it true?
As you can see, the decision is strikingly similar to that of the Nintendo Wii's controller. This is partially to blame for some of the criticisms it has been receiving.
Yeah, in fact, when they're close together, they have a similar button layout, and the only honest difference visually is from the bulb thing on top that makes it look at the camera properly. This thing that lights up during gameplay so the camera can track it easier.
A lot unlike the Wii, however, Sony opted for camera-detected movement, which makes the whole thing react a lot smoother than the Wii for a starter, but also adds more sensitivity than that which came with the Wii remote.
Of course, the Wiimote itself was updated, so there's a little difference between the two now. But how does it feel to play games with? Well, we've spent the last few days trying out a few games on the on the PlayStation Move. Software is available over the PlayStation Network, so we've got a few items to tell you about.
First thing we tried was the Shoot. This is a movie set themed rail shooter. There isn't really much to say about it, and other than that, it works. It's a rail shooter, exactly what things like the Move and the Wiimote are perfect for. The only downside is that they spiced in little motion sensor QTEs, and that can break up the gameplay a bit.
Next up is the Ruse demo, and that one was quite interesting, as it's a real-time strategy game. Something that doesn't really fit with the whole motion sensor ethos, but surprisingly it works quite well. Feels like using a mouse, if not better. However, when we tried it, we did have some alignment problems with the Move controller, but that could have been just the one game.
And lastly is the demo for Kung Fu Riders, a game where you take control of one of two characters and have to ride downhill on a chair or similar ridiculous object. As far as gamers go, it's already a little strange for them, but then the voices that come from the character just sound so mismatched that it is almost impossible to listen to for longer than 5 minutes. The control feels slightly flaky and don't always do what you want them to. From what we've seen, that's only really true for this game. Playing the demo was enough for us to get bored with it, so we don't really see the point in getting the actual game.
Well, we've looked at the software that is available, but for an RRP of $44.99, you better be sure what you're getting in the pack. Well, we have here the starter pack that you can buy at most game retailers for just under 50 quid. And it comes with the Move controller, the iToy camera, which you can't see because it's up there, and the starter disc, which comes in a nice, like, proper case, and it's got a load of software on it you can use for demos and stuff.
The only problem there is that the Move doesn't come with any games and doesn't come bundled with the second controller that is used to move around with. In all fairness, some games don't require the second controller, and you could arguably just use your PlayStation 3. But that still leaves the issue of absolutely no game, so to get a good starter package, you are looking at about £70–100 a minimum, not including the second part too, the controller.
One of the biggest arguments recently has been that there is no point in getting the Move if you already have a Wii. And while it's at its current price, can't honestly recommend this to anyone, because unless you've already got the iToy and a game that has the free Move controller update, it's just too expensive for what is basically a HD Wii.
But now you get to see what happened when me and Will were let loose on Redditch Town Centre.
Hi, me and Tom were in Redditch today asking people questions about video games.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one is because it's strengthened.
Yeah.
What's plastic bag for?
He's being strangled with a plastic bag.
Well,
that's quite bad for like
teenagers to play. Yeah, you don't want to give that to anyone under 21, really.
That's skeleton robots.
I like that. That's very Tim Burton, actually, isn't it? And look at the face.
That is epic. That looks like that.
No, robots are cool.
No.
Ratchet and Clank, no.
Yeah. That one, you find something wrong with that?
Yeah, they got killed.
Yeah, that's violent.
That's very violent. Fall again.
Yes.
That's violent because it's Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Objection to shooting civilians.
The policeman getting headshot off by a guy with a mohawk. Yeah.
Oh, I like GTA. I don't like that. You know the crosshair?
He's missing the head.
No, the crosshair? I don't like that one game.
I don't,
What
that
do you think
to me
is wrong?
doesn't make any sense at all.
Okay.
Yes.
Flying.
Flying dragon.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that one?
No.
Oh, Spyro.
That's not violent.
He's friendly, really.
Yeah. Dragons.
I like that.
That's a bit
fairy tale,
That's a
isn't
bit
it?
overconfident.
It's
Yeah, I would say.
Spyro the
Face.
dragon.
Oh god, get up.
It appears that people have different opinions about video games. However, we all know that there's not much sex in video games.
There's not enough sex in video games. Thank you. Back to the studio
Why
where
don't
it's
you want video games
warm.
anyway? It's crap porn. Give me cartoon. As you can see from that, there appears to be a lot of confusion still as to what is too violent and what is acceptable. But most people agree that there are certain games that just shouldn't be played by anyone.
But then again, there are games that should be played by everyone over and over and over again. I'm of course talking about the miracle of retro gaming.
Yes, Will here is a huge fan of everything retro, so he presents you with Will's Retro Corner.
Hi, and welcome to Will's Retro Corner, the part of the show where I get to show you all the best things that we call retro. And today I present to you the top 5 things that changed video game history. First off, at number 5 is the Atari 2600. The reason this is at number 5 is because it's the first major console that really sparked home gaming. With a wealth of games that are still easily recognisable today, the Atari 2600 stands as one of the defining points in retro game history. At number 4, there are 2 partners that never really went too far together, Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon. Naughty Dog and Insomniac Games, the studios that own Crash and Spyro, used to work in the same building in the Universal backlot. It was because of this close proximity that they both had such a good working relationship, and this was the main factor for the way these companies have evolved. Most people recognise Jak and Daxter or Ratchet and Clank, and it is easy to see how these companies influenced each other's games. And it's because of the improvements through such a good working relationship that Crash and Spyro are number 4. At number 3, there is something that concerns these, and that is the Sega and Nintendo battle in the period between 1983 and 1996. In these periods, Nintendo and Sega were the 2 main combatants in a console sales war that changed gaming forever. If it weren't for the high amount of competition, then less effort would have been put into game production, and this would have meant lower quality of games, and eventually less for the industry to live up to. So it's because of the impact that the system wars have that their place is made at number 3. And at number 2 is something that definitely changed gaming forever, and that is the 3D revolution. That is the period of time when games are switching between 2D side-scrollers to full 3D. This has truly changed games, as can you imagine what games would be like if they were all in 2D? Exactly. And finally, at number 1 is something that I definitely don't have here in the corner, and that is the cathode ray amusement device. It was the first electronic game ever invented. It was the spark that ignited the electronic entertainment industry and created electronic amusements as we know them, and that's why it's our number 1. Well, it looks like I'm running out of time now, so thank you for watching Will's Retro Corner.
With us. Welcome back, and in the studio with us is Matt and Will. Ta-da! Who are joining us to play a little game of Castle Crashers 4-player co-op style.
Yeah, ow. Castle Crashers is a 4-player old-school side-scrolling fighter like Streets of Rage or the Golden Axe series.
It's available over Xbox Live Arcade and PlayStation Network for 1,200 Microsoft points or $10.99.
As we said before, Castle Crashers is extremely reminiscent of those old 16-bit side-scrolling beat-em-ups like Streets of Rage and Golden Axe, just with a graphical makeover.
Yeah, and oddly enough, the game was actually created by a studio called the Behemoth, with strong ties to Newsgrounds.com. The tie leads right to Tom Fulp, who founded Newsground, being one of the founding members of the Behemoth.
When the Behemoth started creating games, they decided that they wanted to start making games that were a lot like older console titles and the more modern games of the day.
The first console release, Alien Hominid, on PlayStation 2 was extremely well received, and this led to the creation of their second release, Castle Crashers.
The game feels almost exactly like playing an old school 16-bit adventure but on the PS3. A distinct visual style and several 2D planes take you back to a simpler gaming generation.
The combat style is very hack and slashy, but still manages to be rewarding. The more people have you playing, fighting your war through waves of bad guys can be very satisfying. It's definitely something that's better with some good friends around and a few beers in the fridge.
In the game, you get the classic character select screen, where you can be either red, green, blue or yellow, and depending on which character you choose, you start with different weapons, that kind of deal. But you also have the chance of picking up different weapons as you progress through the game.
Another interesting thing that they include is a levelling system where you can upgrade your character as you go, increasing attack, defence, magic or agility, and gaining new combos too.
The magic system is something that's been used in the past before, and you can use it to break up the tide of enemies that surround you, especially when you get into a tight spot.
Something that was definitely improved on since the 16-bit days, and that is the game world. The game featured the option to choose where you want to go, making the world more open. Also given the option to backtrack for experience. Add this to a hilarious visual style and you've got a game that you and your mates will start playing and get lost in for hours.
While we try to beat these two, you get to see the rest of mine and Tom's face-off in Halo.
Enjoy.
You're going to get serious this time. There we go. Last time it was all fun and games, this time it's serious. What happened in that other match when suddenly hitting people was the reload button and the reload button was something else? What was up with that? No, seriously, that's really weird.
What, on Halo or?
No, it was literally 5 seconds ago. Oh, that was so close to hitting you as well.
Oh no,
Oh! Where are you? Oh wait, you're down there.
You're done, but you have to die.
Just turned it down.
You're like tracking vehicles, right? Oh! Oh, that was pretty badass actually. We've got 1-1 now. We're not getting minus points anymore, which is a good thing. You put it down in time, obviously. I like the way this is so childish because every time like one of us starts losing, we just complain. Or like we look moody, like, oh, I don't want to play anymore. I'm losing. It's not cheating. You don't want to respawn. So I just look at your screen. It's all I'm doing is looking at your screen. It's not knowing the respawn point. There's 2 rocket launchers up here. As long as the one of them keeps respawning, I'll be fine. See, now I don't know where you are. See, now that's the tactic you should have been abused.
Well, it's a bit unfair.
I don't care. I'll be honest. It's fun for me to watch you die. I realised I actually can't get over that ramp without a ghost. With sniper rifles, this would be like sitting ducks, isn't it? But this way, like without sniper rifles at all, you're just basically spamming rockets at each other. I don't know where you are anymore. Oh, you're there. There you go. Got you. Yes! I'm the first person to actually successfully make it to the island using just a ghost. I'm so happy. Last time, didn't Tom put like a
weapon stash?
Yeah, he put like a weapon stash on it, didn't he?
And a warrior tank.
Yeah, he put a scorpion tank up too. See you all in hell. Actually, yeah, you know what, Tom? Kill me. What's that over there, Dave? Oh, we got the rockets! That was a pretty good shot, I'll be fair. Oh! That was a pretty good. No, come on.
Look at that from here.
That was some nice work. He was like pretty. That was pretty good going. I'll be honest. You get so one-sided once one of us has a rocket launcher. You didn't get a point for that, did you? I think you did. I killed myself.
You know when you got injured, that was just me.
You have to go for like the most easy to recognise spot in the map, didn't you? I actually got the ammo left for that. Just saying.
Oh, no,
See, that was my opportunity.
Did I have ammo?
You didn't. Oh, close shot, man. One remaining. You've got to try and catch up now, Tom.
Obviously not with pressure on us.
Oh, there he goes. I saw him crumble to his death. Sorry, but that was the funniest thing I've seen all day. Just this little figure going. Are you going to be a good score about this? Because I did high five you when you killed me. Oh yes! I knocked him off the edge at the last minute.